it going, everyone? Today we are taking a look at this absolutely immaculate 05 TJ Rubicon, and we have the owner, Dylan, here to show us all around it. How's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going?
So, this is your TJ. It's a beautiful vehicle, and you've actually done a good amount of work to it, even though it looks fairly stock. So tell me about it. Where did you get it from?
Yeah, so I acquired this Jeep from my parents 2 years ago. It was just sitting in their garage collecting dust, and
Right.
Paint was faded. It had some dents, so my dad, being a mechanic, blew it apart, took the body off the frame, repainted the frame, the body, put it all back together, and pretty much built it exactly how I wanted it, and then I got it from him.
So you guys did the paint and body work?
Yeah.
No kidding, because this is really, really good. I mean, I've done a little bit of very amateurish paint and body work, and black especially is a hard color to pull off well, and this looks really, really good. So you guys did an unbelievable job.
Thank you.
So what else have you done to this? Because I noticed, obviously, wheel tire package and a little bit of lift. This is not factory.
No, it's not. It's got a 2-inch old man Emu suspension lift kit, 33-inch BFG KM3 mud terrains. And then other than that, it's got some upgraded sway bar links and upgraded gears in the axles.
Okay. So what is the gearing switched over to?
They have 456 gears in them now.
Nice. So does it drive pretty much like stock?
Yeah,
even on
pretty
these?
much like stock on the highway.
Yeah, and this is not too aggressive of a lift. Honestly, I would say in terms of the stance of this, I mean, this looks just about perfect.
Yeah, it's exactly how I wanted it. Not a fan of JKs with angry eyes, so I wanted to keep it as stock as possible, keep that classic TJ look.
Yeah, which is awesome. And you walk up to this and it looks like somebody bought this back in the day, did a couple tasteful mods to it, and then has left it preserved, which is really how you want a vehicle of this era to look. And then something else I noticed, obviously you've got a big 9,500 pound winch up front here. Do you have to use this fairly often?
We've used it before, re-spooled it so it looks all pretty, but it's been used.
Nice. Are you mostly recovering other people or recovering yourself?
Recovering myself if I'm at a rock wall.
Okay. And then obviously this being a Rubicon, you get some additional extras, right?
Yeah, you get lockers front and rear, you get the better transfer case, and you get the stickers. Nice.
Gotta have the stickers. And something else that I just love about this is if we poke our heads underneath, like you said, I mean, you guys even went through and resprayed the frame, and this is as cherry as it could possibly be. I mean, it looks stunning. You guys did an awesome job. I mean, everything I look at, this looks like it just rolled off the factory floor. I mean, even your body mounts here, I mean, it's not cracked old rubber. There's no rust. I mean, this is beautiful, and it's the same on the interior. Look at that. Is it hard to find TJ with a solid interior? Are there a lot of dash tracking issues, that kind of thing?
Manufacturers don't make a lot of OEM parts for it, so you're just looking at salvage yards, anything good you could get or start good.
Yeah, and I can see it looks like, is that a factory head unit in there as well?
It is.
Nice. That's the way to go, man. Whenever you have a light up modern aftermarket head unit, I understand why people do it, because they want to play their own music, but it looks so out of place, and seeing one of these with the dash intact the way it's supposed to look is so much cooler to see.
I agree.
So how about the soft top? Did you guys have to do anything?
Did have to replace the soft top. It being a 2005, it was over 15 years old, so did upgrade to a Quadratech best top.
Nice. Yeah, and then coming around back, it looks like also a steel bumper in back here. Is that also an aftermarket piece?
No, that's all stock. Just
Really?
took the end caps off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it leaves plenty of tire exposed, so looking at it from kind of like a rear 3/4 angle, you get a lot of that tire. But again, it's just the right stance for this Jeep. It's not sitting up too high, doesn't have too much tire under it. Looks the way that you would hope these would look even back in the day. I say back in the day. It's not that old. It's not that old. But it's, yeah, this is just more of a classic Jeep. This is more no frills, simpler. Also love the 4-liter inline 6. That is a great solid engine. There's a lot of people out there that refuse to believe that a Jeep can be reliable, but if there's any Jeep that's going to sway somebody on that, it's one with a 4-liter under the hood.
Yep.
Have you had pretty good experience, and your family, with
problems.
this?
Yeah, just regular maintenance, and it keeps going.
How many miles?
This one has 95,000 miles.
Okay, so not bad, especially again for a 4-liter. It'll go well beyond that.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, and I wanted to ask you too. So, obviously TJ and LJ Jeeps, these things are starting to pull a decent amount of money, especially if it's a Rubicon like this one. So right now, what is the market like on these if you were to try and pick one of these up?
Yeah, so if you get a good, clean TJ Rubicon, under 100,000 miles, so low miles, you're looking at 20 to 30,000. And if it's really low miles, you can go north of 40.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's roundabout the price almost for a brand new Jeep.
Right.
Which, I mean, obviously not a brand new Rubicon, but like Tommy's brand new Willys that he had, which Willys, by the way, is the correct way to say it. That was 30-something thousand. So yeah, I mean, to get one of these Rubicons in good shape in this generation, that's a good chunk of change.
It's hard to find one that's not all rusty or modded up. It's hard to find a clean one.
And you said you off-road this a decent amount, right?
Yeah, this is not my daily. This is strictly an off-road car. It does excellent. I think the 2-inch lift with the 33s is just enough to do almost every trail in Colorado. And with the right line and a confident driver, you barely scrape at all.
And realistically, I mean, I know 35s now is kind of the standard, and big these days means at least 37, but realistically, you don't really need a lot more than 33s.
No, I think 33s are great. It's going to handle well on the highway, which these do, but still get you that ground clearance off-road and the traction.
And I know that's another point of contention for a lot of people is there's so many people I've talked to that just say Jeeps are horrible on the highway. And sure, it's not a Mercedes S-Class. It's not something that you're going to drive 120 miles per hour on going down the highway, but a well-maintained Jeep like this that's not overly modified with way too big of tires, I mean, it does all right on the highway, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I took it to Crested Butte last weekend and it handled great. One hand on the steering wheel, no problems.
No white knuckles.
No,
You weren't afraid for your life.
Cruises just fine.
I'll also ask, since you've had this now for, you said 2 years, right?
Right.
Is there anything about it that you have gripes with? Anything that you would change?
Not really gripes, maybe just, especially in this weather, black is really hot. You get off-roading and the Jeep gets hot, so. Yeah,
the sun out here in Colorado is intense, and a dark vehicle like this, I mean, you could cook an egg on it. They get really unbelievably hot. So you're happy with it? Anything that you're planning to modify further in the future?
Not right now. Maybe some better bumpers. No, I want to keep it as stock looking as possible. Yeah, I think this is the right way to have it. And we also have to see how it does on our off-road course. I'm excited.
All right, so we're starting out with Dirty Deed. This is going to be easy because it's been drying out a little bit here because it's been so hot in Colorado. And thankfully, we've actually got mud terrains. Ew. I think that's going to help us out a good bit today. Yeah, not easy. A problem. Yeah, and this is actually one of the few vehicles that's been through here, I would say, that we've tested with mud terrains. So I think it's going to help us out a lot. The other thing that's going to help us out a lot is short wheelbase. Right. We're locked there in the second gear, going up the soft dirt hill. Had traction in the wet stuff, had traction on the dry stuff. Not a problem. This is also kind of the perfect size for an off-roader. It is. It gets through the trees, through the rocks, gets you where you need to go. So do you have a group of people that you usually wheel with? Usually my dad and his buddies, they all got Jeeps. Nice, so you guys are all kind of rocking a similar type of rig? Right, all TJ Rubicons. Nice. So is there anything in particular that draws you to the TJ versus a JK or a JL or any other generation? Really the size, the engine, and the capability. I feel like the TJs are just more capable.
I'll probably get a lot of crap for that from the JK guys.
When I think the size right now is really going to come into play because we've got this tight left turn here.
Very Black Bear Pass-esque.
And I've seen plenty of vehicles have to do a 5-point turn and really struggle to get around this corner, but just a slight reverse and yeah, we're right down it. So have you added any extra underbody protection, any skid plates?
No, just stock skid plates.
And I would imagine that the Rubicon would have more.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go up slip and slide and see how we do with traction. Don't figure we'll have any issues here.
Oh, if we do,
with
we'll
clearance.
just throw the lockers on. I think it'll just crawl right up.
The biggest issue that a vehicle usually has there is breakover.
Gotcha.
And then we can cruise back down that same way if we want to circle around the bush here. But yeah, usually the biggest issue for some of the longer vehicles we test on that obstacle is breakover angle. And again, this being a two-door, being a very short vehicle, it's not a problem at all. So do you notice much of a difference between the quality of ride with the Old Man Emu suspension versus the stock?
No, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, and also, this has got to be so nice for off-roading, being able to just lock it into first gear, automatic transmission, not really have to overthink it. I know there's people out there that prefer to have a manual, but this does just take a lot of the thinking out of it.
Right.
Then we can go up left here. And you said that the automatics are actually generally more desirable on the market and more expensive?
Yeah, I think it's just because they're easier to off-road, which is what most people use them for.
Yeah. Alright, now we are approaching Nathan's Crack, which I have to imagine this is also going to be a breeze. I mean, we haven't had to use the locker yet. All of our angles, unsurprising for a Rubicon, a Jeep really of any kind, all of our angles have been just fine. A lot of vehicles, when that back tire drops off of the root back there, just like it did, smack their bumper, especially pickup trucks. Again, I mean, these bumpers are completely out of the way. We'll go up right here. Yeah, easy. All right, so now we're heading down into Cottonwood Creek, which this is where the course actually starts to flex its muscles a little bit. So far, again, haven't had to use the locker at all, but that might change, or maybe not. Wow, it was really easy. Now is where we get a little off pitch. See how we do here. Well articulated, no sliding, but not a problem. And we still don't have the axle lock on. Look at that. This is doing phenomenally well.
I thought we were gonna need it there for a second.
Yeah.
Muscle up.
Well, if you want to hit it, Tommy's Demise is the last and historically the hardest of them.
I'm gonna turn on the lockers here.
Yeah. This is probably worth a locker.
That's deep.
That nose is way down there. We might still be able to power out of this. Come on, dig.
Let's go.
There we go. Easy. That was as easy as I've seen anything go through here since it started getting rutted out. So this course over time has gotten somewhat progressively harder, although more recently it's dried out a little bit, so it's not as bad as it's ever been, but it's still a lot more rutted out than when we first made this course. And this is one of the few, if not the only vehicle that's gone through it under its own power in this kind of condition in this state.
The only thing that's done it is the mule right there. It's been weeks since anything's
Yeah.
made it through here under its own power.
Yeah,
so.
this is the first vehicle in a long time to get through there. So, cool,
Very well
congrats,
done.
dude. That was badass.
We had a Bronco two-door. I know you watched that video. Had to winch itself out of there, and he was mashing on the throttle pretty hard. So, good job.
Yes.
That was awesome.
So this is the last obstacle. not the hardest. I mean, we've already gone through the toughest of it and have just done it with ease. So really have no concerns about this whatsoever. And we're axle lock off once again. Go on the left here. And then we've just got this steep hill climb, but these 4-liters are plenty torquey for this kind of thing. And also you've got the gearing for it, especially because you guys re-geared it.
Yes.
So it drives, wouldn't you say, pretty much like stock?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. That's the way to go. Man! Well, this Jeep just absolutely embarrassed our course. And it kind of goes to show, a lot of times, you really don't have to go over the top with ginormous tires and a massive, massive lift. It's the bigger and more unwieldy you make your vehicle, you're not necessarily going to benefit yourself. This looks almost like it could be factory.
Right.
And it just cruised all of that. Well, Dylan, you just really kind of embarrassed our off-road course with your TJ. Sorry we didn't have more of a challenge for you.
That's all right. It was still fun.
Yeah. So really cool to see how, honestly, a not that heavily modified Jeep can do through some of these obstacles. I mean, it did phenomenally well. It was really fun to watch. And now might have to go on Marketplace and start looking at TJs. I know I probably can't afford one, but this just strikes me as a really good in-between. I think it's the right era for Jeep, still very repairable. This is a vehicle that's not so new that you have to have all kinds of crazy computers and software to work on it. And it's also, then again, modern enough that you can drive this on a normal modern street at modern speeds and still have it be usable. So I think I have a new favorite Jeep.